Hey YouTube, it's TheIxelan. I'm bringing you another Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. This is going to be an OU match against N1G, also known as Twisted Legend, on the Quid chat. That's where I met him. We got into an OU match. He's got a website, the EV Dragon League, I think it's called. I've got a link to it somewhere. I'll put in the description to check it out. But anyways, this was a pretty fun battle. You can see the teams here, and let's get into it. I see Mienshao in his lead spot, so I'm just going to lead out with Mustachio, because I know that I'm immune to Fake Out and High Jump Kick and most of the things this thing can do. And he gets the crit on the knockoff, which still does under 100, so I'm like, okay, I can take this all day. And I just go for the Will-O-Wisp to make sure that Mienshao's not really going to be much of a pain to any of my Pokemon later in the match. So he switches out into Deoxys Speed, and I'm just going to go for the Scald, to get damage on whatever he switches into. And of course I don't get the burn, and he starts setting up screens, and I'm like, alright, I can deal with the screens. I'm just going to see how much after a screen Scald does nothing. So I try for the Will-O-Wisp, but of course it misses. And I'm like, Scald doesn't want to burn, Will-O-Wisp doesn't burn, I'll just go for the residual damage until I get the burn, at least that'll do something. And I do finally get the burn, which is pretty sweet. And he sets up his rocks, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch into Donphin and just spin those away. And that works out perfectly because he's packing Thunder, and so that has no effect on me whatsoever. So I just go for the Rapid Spin, because I assumed he was going to leave Deoxys Speed into Die, but he doesn't. He switches down to Heatran, and that's awesome, because now that's a popped balloon, and I don't have to worry about Heatran anymore. And I know I can take whatever fire move he has, so I'm going back into Jellicent. And he has Hidden Power Ground, which is really good, but what do you know? I have Curse Body and it works perfectly, so that's that's that pretty much. I'm just gonna recover up the damage here because I know that Deoxys can't really do anything to me and it's gonna die on the dies at the end of the turn with the burn. So now he goes into Gastrodon, and I'm sure this thing probably has Water Absorb, so I'm gonna go out into I knew it was going to probably Toxic, and I didn't want to deal with that, so I go into my only Steel type to take the Toxic. And he starts going for the Scald, and I'm like, okay, do I want to try to poison this, or burn this, or just paralyze it? How am I going to do this? So I just go for the Body Slam, because I'm like, I'll see if I can get Paralysis first turn, and I do. And of course I get the Power Hacks, which is pretty sweet, so I'm just like, alright. I don't really have any Grass moves, so this thing could be a problem, so I'm probably just going to have to, whittle it down. And I do get that crit, which really helps with the whittling down part. And I'm going to try to, Iron Head Flinch it, Paraflinch it to death. Because I know once it starts recovering, I'll have some issues. But in the back of my head, I was thinking, he's probably going to switch out, because that would be the smart play to switch into Heatran and just, crisp me with, like, a Fire Blast or something. So I went for the Body Slam a couple more times, because I'm like, predicting him to switch. Because I'm not sure when he's going to do it, because I don't want to, go into the Iron Head, and he switches into something that can take the Iron Head, isn't paralyzed, and is faster than me, especially since I'm at, under half health right now. But he doesn't, so I start going for the Iron Head, and I get the flinch, and I'm seeing the Iron Head does, nothing, but he doesn't have leftovers, but if I keep paraflinching him, leftovers will eventually bring me up that I don't even need to wish. So I go for the Body Slam again, predicting the switch, and it pretty much never happens. So I'm like, okay, we'll just keep doing Iron Head, I guess? I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. Oh, okay, so I switch out. I'm just like, maybe I'll scare him away now, because I really don't want to deal with this, Stall War anymore. And he gets the Recover off. And I'm like, okay, I'm predicting the Toxic, so I'll go for the Taunt. And he switches in the Gliscor, which is really nice, because now he can't protect or Swords Dance or anything. But I really don't want to take the Ice Fang, so I'm going to switch out. And he does actually go for the Ice Fang, which is, the smart play to make. And freezes my Jirachi, which sucks because now Stewie Griffin is frozen. I'm like, okay, I don't have anything to do. I'm just going to leave him in to die because he's useless. And so he takes that Earthquake and dies pretty effectively. And of course the Taunt wears off, and I'm like, no, he's going to probably start setting up. So I'm just going to go into Latios to scare him away. And he goes out into Heatran, and I just go for the Surf because I don't have an Ice Beam on this guy. I have Surf, and that would easily kill Gliscor, but it doesn't kill Heatran, so I'm like, okay. And I go for the Surf again. He gets his Storm Drain. Not Water Absorb, Storm Drain, that's what it is. I'm like, whatever, you're gonna die to a Draco Meteor. No, you're not, obviously, of course. And you're gonna get the Ice Beam, and that's gonna do a ridiculous amount. I need to switch. Oh, look, I'm frozen. So he gets the Double Freeze, which I guess kind of makes up for any hacks I've gotten so far. I've actually never gotten Double Freeze in one match. So I was like, awesome, let's see if I can try to pull this out. So I'm going to go for the Ice Beam because I know he's got the Storm Drain and I can't Scald him. It's going to do very little damage, but, you know, I got to do something here because I'm pretty sure I can outstall this guy. And he goes for the Clear Smog, which does nothing, so his only option really is to go for Ice Beam, since Cursed Body takes out his Clear Smog. But he's going to try to get the burn on me with the Scald, and it's really not going to happen. But I'm going to switch out into my Virizion because if I can get the Parahacks on and a safe switch in, which I do, I'm like, okay, maybe a Giga Drain will straight up kill him because he's 4 times weak, and my Rapid is fucking amazing. So it does, it insta-kills, and I'm like, yes, go Life Orb. And he goes out into Heat Ran. I'm like, I don't really want to risk you being faster than me, so I'll just set up the Sand now, because that's probably the best play I can make here. And he does go for the Fire Blast, and I just kind of eat that because Tyranitar is disgusting, and everybody should use Gold Bond Cream. It's very good for you. No, I'm just kidding. So he goes for the Earth Power, which does more than I expected, and of course gets a special defense drop, but I'm like, whatever. I'm going to Crunch and finish off his Heat Ran. Just in case he wanted to switch to something else, I figured Crunch would probably do some of the most damage. So he goes out into Mienshao, and I'm like, alright, I can easily wall this thing with my Donphin, even though it's not a wall guy. So he's going to set up the Swords Dance so that he can, you know, cover up the fact that this thing is burned. And I'm like, alright, that's fine. I'm just going to go for the Earthquake. And he goes for the Knockoff, which works out amazingly because I'm Choice Banded. So I'm no longer locked into Earthquake, which means when he switches into Gliscor, I can actually go for the Ice Shard and not have to switch. So that Knockoff actually really, really helped me. Obviously, the Ice Shard doesn't do nearly as much damage as it would with the Choice Band, because it's not stabbed or anything. But it definitely lets me get a lot of residual damage on this Gliscor, whatever it is. So I get the Ice Shard in, and he's at about half, and he misses his Ice Fang, which really sucks for him. But I don't want to... I know he's going to go for Ice Fang again. I predict the Protect. So I switch into my Mustachio, and he goes for the second Protect since the first one obviously failed. And I'm like, alright, whatever. I have Ice Beam on this guy too, so I know that since I have a higher special attack than... Actually, I don't even have the higher special attack. I'm not even entirely sure why this killed him when Ice Shard did so little. But it does. Oh, well, I mean, to be fair, it has a much higher base attack, but I really didn't expect it. I expected it to be a 2-hit KO, and it was a 1-hit KO, so it's pretty nice. So I go out into my Latios against this, whatchamacallit, Hydreigon. And he goes for the Fire Blast, and I'm frozen, and it thaws me, which is his own death, because I just went straight for the Draco Meteor, and that kind of killed that. So yeah, that was a good game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought. I'll see you guys next time.